Okay, so we talked about the story of our engagement and how we ended our engagement party, or night, at Bubba Gump's drinking Miller Lite in front of a pregnant smoking bartender. Talked about the lesson of that is having unrealistic expectations for what you think it should be, based on what your ego kind of sometimes can drive, what your own personal wants or needs or desires can drive. And the advice that I would give would be, and I would give this advice to myself if I could go back in time. I would give this advice to my daughter when she's older and anybody else that's listening. And it would certainly have helped me over the years have a much better experience and enjoyment with a whole lot of different things. And the advice that I would give myself would be, don't let your expectation impact the experience. And a great example of this is going to be a wedding. Everybody thinks that everybody says the wedding, the happiest day of your life. No, it's not. Like, your wedding day is an absolute shit show. It's long. There's lots of weird things that you're doing that you never do. There's way too many people that want, to be with you and be in front of you, which is all great. Like, that's wonderful that you have people, supporting you and wanting to be there for you. But there's so much stuff going on. Everybody says the same thing. You barely spent any time with your spouse. You barely got to talk to anybody for more than hi and thank you and are you enjoying yourself and this and that. And then it's over and you're just exhausted and there's a huge bill and all of that sort of stuff. But I think oftentimes there is so much pressure, so much of an expectation built up on the wedding day that it's got to be just this perfect, magical, unbelievable experience. And when you walk into that, there's no way that it's going to live up to it. Even if you have it at the Plaza Hotel and everything is catered by a 3 Michelin star restaurant and you've got fresh flowers everywhere and everything in the world, like, nothing is going to live up to the expectation that oftentimes we have in our head of what something like a wedding or whatever is going to be. And that can oftentimes get in the way of us, myself in the past and even recently probably, of just enjoying that experience for what it is. And when you think about what the best day of your life is as a married couple, people say it's your wedding day. But for me, and I think my wife would agree, it wasn't our wedding day. It was probably the third day of one of our trips to Mexico after we were married and before we had kids, when we were just hanging out, not a care in the world, because we had no expectation. We were already on vacation. All we had to do was just wake up and just enjoy ourselves and do whatever the hell we wanted to do. And if we wanted to have a mimosa at 8:30 in the morning, we did. Not that I did, but maybe I had 2 or 3 or 4 of those at 8:30 in the morning. But that's fine. That's another story. But seriously, the reason that we had such a good time is because we didn't have an expectation of what we were going to do that day. We didn't even know what we were going to do that day. We just woke up and just kind of went where the wind took us. So that is a great example of how we did not let our expectations impact our experience. And then on the flip side, something like a wedding or something like a big party, even the holidays, we're smack dab around the holidays with Thanksgiving and Christmas. There's this expectation that you've got to have something, great, this great party, this great meal, everything's got to be perfect. Like, no one cares. No one cared that at our wedding, our centerpieces were cookbooks that we rented from the library. No one cared that, my suit was something I had in my closet, and no one cared that my wife found her dress on sale, and none of that matters. But if you put all that expectation on yourself, all you're doing is setting yourself up and your ego up to be disappointed, frustrated, and even when you're in the moment feeling those things, and now that is projecting outward onto everybody else around you to that experience, and in the middle of it, like I've done in the past, the experience is less than it could be because you're focused on what it isn't as opposed to what it is.